Hello, today I just want to say a few things about the opinions of famous monk scholar in America called Bhikkhu Bodhi on Vipassana and Samadhi meditation. Bhikkhu Bodhi is famous for his translation of the suttas into more modern English, and he also has a PhD in philosophy and is highly respected in terms of his opinions and views on Abhidhamma. He's taught Abhidhamma at university level, and his views, as I say, are widely sought throughout the Buddhist world. It's interesting to know what he thinks about this kind of disagreement that exists in Theravada between Vipassana and Samadhi or Shamata meditation. One group supports Samatha and the other Vipassana. They both think both Samadhi and Vipassana can be achieved within the tradition. So Samadhi is concentration, which is often said not to lead to insight, or Vipassana, seeing clearly, which is necessary for enlightenment. And Vipassana doesn't have the prelude, which is insight meditation, doesn't have the prelude of deep concentration, which is usually thought to be necessary. Like I say, there's a big split on this, and on the one hand you have those teachers who think that what they call jhana meditation is enough, where you concentrate and later you can get to levels of meditation and jhana where you can do the vipassana inside the meditation or after the meditation when you come out. And then the vipassana people think that you only need maybe an amount of meditation that is less than the first jhana to attain a vision of nirvana or nibbana. So they're both going in the same direction, but they emphasize different paths and are kind of mutually exclusive most of the time. The teacher of one way of doing meditation probably won't advise you to take up the other. They think that their path is enough. So usually the Samadhi people say that the suttas support the view that the Buddha did Samadhi meditation or Samatha meditation, and because it's joyful, and after that it's possible to do Vipassana or do it even inside the meditation, inside the jhana. Vipassana, usually people point out, is not joyful, so the Buddha couldn't be talking about that, because it's a very dry kind of practice where you're looking at all the emotions and thoughts that are arising. So there are these 2 points of view, and what does Bhikkhu Bodhi think about it? Well, I can't say what he thinks at this moment about it, but on the basis of past writings, he seems to support both methods, really. But I'm not saying that he supports a particular method of practice. Nothing he says would suggest that he supports, say, the Mahasi method of Vipassana or some other method of Samadhi meditation. He's just talking in general about what's necessary to gain enlightenment, to see nibbana. And his point of view is that, as expressed in his writings, is that probably below the level of a non-returner, that's a anagami, jhana, a view of the jhanas, which you get in Samadhi meditation, is probably not necessary. He looks at the non-monks, the non-monk supporters of the Buddha, the lay people who became Sotapannas, first stage of enlightenment, and points out that it seems unlikely that any of them were practicing jhana meditation. So this makes him believe that probably probably it's not necessary to do jhana to get to the sotapanna level, and he extends that also to the sakadagami level, which is the once returner, the person who is going to return one more time. But he does say that after that, usually for the monks, it will be the anagamis, the non-returners, and those who have become arahants, who have become enlightened. These can definitely see jhana. So his point of view is that below the level of anagami, the first stages of enlightenment, concentration probably isn't necessary, but because in the suttas, lay supporters of the Buddha who become sotapannas and sakadagamis, it doesn't look like they were doing any jhana practice. He also suggests that on the basis of the Satipatthana Sutta, that there is a suggestion that maybe bare insight is enough. Bare insight meditation, that's vipassana, maybe only vipassana is necessary. But he doesn't say that directly, he says maybe there's a suggestion, it can't be established for sure one way or another. However, he's not saying that the lay supporters of the Buddha were doing vipassana practice either. That seems unlikely too, although I am adding this. It seems that most of them become sotapannas on the basis of hearing a teaching from the Buddha, and it would probably be explained as connecting with virtues that they accumulated in past lives. But anyway, he does float the possibility that it may be possible to reach enlightenment only on the basis of bare insight. So that's vipassana without deep samadhi. Some samatha is necessary, but perhaps a level that is less than the first jhana. This, as far as I can understand it, is his point of view about this, and I think that what he has to say is very in tune with the Abhidhamma. Some people on the other side, they tend to reject the Abhidhamma and say, forget about that, that was written by monks and they didn't really understand what the Buddha was doing. And you just have to look at the suttas to understand. That's why they kind of exclusively support the jhana practice. But I think Bhikkhu Bodhi, he looks at the suttas, obviously he knows them expertly and has translated them. And in fact, this work that I'm talking about is based on looking at the lay supporters of the Buddha in the suttas. So I would say that he is also obviously supportive of jhana practice, of samadhi practice, and would not suggest that that's not the main route. Probably for most people, the main route to enlightenment would be through samatha practice initially, and then move on to vipassana later in the jhana, or come out of the jhana and examine what happened and see that based on the occurrences, everything is impermanent, unsatisfactory, leads to suffering, and can't be controlled. So I suppose that what he says is a kind of boost for vipassana practice, although nothing he says suggests support for any one particular practice. Like I said before, we can be pretty sure that I think we can be pretty sure that the lay supporters of the Buddha were not doing any vipassana practice either. If they weren't doing jhana practice, they weren't doing vipassana practice. It seems to be on the basis of hearing a teaching from the Buddha that they reach the first stage of enlightenment, the sotapanna level. So, but it does anyway open up a route to believe that vipassana practice could be enough, although I think nobody would deny that most of what the Buddha says in the suttas seems to be talking about the samadhi practice. And you can look at suttas like the Anupada Sutta, where his chief disciple goes into samadhi and goes through the different jhana levels. And it says that while he is in the jhana, he is watching every moment arising, peaking, and ceasing. So it looks like Sariputta at least is able to see impermanence inside the jhana. So those are just my thoughts on ideas of Bhikkhu Bodhi that have been important for me. So hope that's useful, and thanks a lot. Thank you.